Hello and welcome everybody to an interview in our YouTube channel, Video Analytics 101. We do this once per month where we talk to industry experts in the area of video analytics and we try to get into the weeds of very specific video analytics topics. Last month, we talked about license plate recognition with Paul Brodeur. If you missed that, check it out in the YouTube channel here right now. After this session, while you're here, also don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything in the future. Today, we're talking about traffic management, a reality check on traffic management. And I'm very happy to have Renato here. He's the co-founder and CTO of Sprinx. So welcome, Renato.
Thank you, Florian. Hi, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me and Sprinx to your YouTube channel.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. This is really exciting. We want to talk about traffic management. Obviously, traffic management is a very broad field, but since we're talking here about video analytics, we want to focus on the video analytics aspect of it. We want to talk about what's possible, what's not possible, where it's going, and also what is needed really to set up video analytics in a traffic management environment. It's a very timely topic, also ties back to our topic from last month with license plate recognition. Traffic is a big thing, and video analytics comes up constantly when talking about traffic management. So Renato, maybe you can start us off with a quick introduction. What is actually Sprinx doing? What is Sprinx, and what topics do you cover?
Okay, good. Sprinx is an Italian company. We are a pure independent software vendor. I founded the company around 12 years ago. And from the very beginning, our commitment was the development of video analytics for the traffic industry. Now, more and more, the market is changing. So we are not only providing solutions for the pure traffic industry like tunnels or highways. So we started deploying solutions for smart cities as well. And so not only traffic, but mobility in general. So people flow and vehicle flow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we look at the really the traffic aspect, so the road, what is possible nowadays? So what kind of things are like realistically detectable with video analytics?
Yeah, today mainly the market is asking for event detection in the traffic in general, especially everything started in tunnel applications in order to provide details to traffic operators, understanding what was happening inside the tunnel. So the main events are like stop vehicle, wrong way driver, slow down in queue, smoke in tunnel. But again, more and more, this kind of solutions are providing insights about the traffic. So I mean, vehicle counting, classification, and especially when many players moved to the AI, and Sprinx was one of the first companies providing an AI-based solution for the traffic management. We moved from the tunnel to the open air outdoor installation. And so we had the possibility and the opportunity to deploy solutions not only for events, but again, especially for vehicle counting, vehicle behavior, and so on.
I wanted to just one comment. It's an interesting trend because that's something we see actually in the whole security industry, that you start off with the security events like perimeter protection. Yeah. And once this is done, it still stays, but it's really expanding towards business intelligence. And it sounds like you're seeing the same in traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm. And we are receiving a lot of different requests by end users or system integrators. So those I mentioned are the basic features, but we received a very strange requests like to use the same camera for a strong wind detection, or end user, especially in highways, they want to detect if drivers are eating while driving, or how many people are inside the car. Mm-hmm. It's not, honestly, it's not only a matter if it's possible or not. The main we used to say that the main ingredient for a good video analytics solution is the position of the camera. So the main issue we face every time is that the camera is installed for vehicle counting, but so a very wide field of view, but the end user wants also to count people inside the car. And this is one of the main issues. At the other side, I would say that it's not so easy as it could seem that it's possible to count people, for example, in this case, inside the car, because we need to filter light reflections on the front window and so on. So we prefer to suggest something that is robust, that we as a developer or the end user tested for several times before saying that it's possible or not.
Okay. Maybe we can try still something like if we assume it's the perfect camera and it's the perfect camera position and perfect setup. Maybe I can name a few things that I imagine are difficult. You can tell me if it's possible or not. Okay. So you mentioned already counting people in vehicles. Is that
Yeah.
possible?
It's not so easy. It's not possible. I
Okay.
mean,
What about belt detection? I heard it also before.
yeah, we have to face the very similar issues.
Okay.
Also, driver that is eating
Okay, driver
on
eating also
tracks.
not
Yeah.
possible. What about traffic accidents?
Traffic accident is a misunderstanding because the solution that we provide and other players are providing, it's called by the market automatic incident detection. But it doesn't mean that the software is able to understand the collision of two vehicles or a vehicle with a pedestrian. It means that the software is able to detect abnormal events in a standard traffic flow.
Okay, so which could raise an event, but the operator would have to determine if it's an
Yeah,
accident.
that could be a stop vehicle or it could be another type of event, but not the collision of
Okay.
vehicles.
What about fire?
Fire, it's not impossible in this
Okay.
case. I mean, we are working on this. It's really tough because it depends where the fire has to be detected. So
Okay.
in tunnel, it's quite difficult because it could be very small. We did some tests in other different environment, and it's not so easy.
I mean, that's actually a good point because as far as I can remember, the early applications always focused on tunnels, and then they moved to open areas. I guess there's a difference, right? What is possible in a tunnel versus in an open area.
Yes, yes, sure, sure. I would like also to mention that currently many players, including Sprinx, we have in our catalog, for example, some detections like spilled cargo, which is an object on the carriageway. This is something that the end users are asking a lot, but again, this is not a detection so robust compared to the other, because you can imagine a small carton box on the carriageway and many vehicles that are moving beside or so it's not easy to detect a small object on the carriageway. So
Yeah. There are also some applications. I'm not sure. I think you call it hard shoulder clearance, or
yes,
like making sure that this is that a road is free in order to open it. This is a similar problem, I guess, because you have to detect very small objects as well, right?
yes, yes. There are some countries like in Switzerland, they wanna check a very small object, is a wooden box cube, very
Hmm.
small. We did a POC in Italy where the main topic was the detection of a stopped vehicle and nothing more.
Yeah.
So just to support the traffic operators before opening the emergency shoulder, and in this case it works.
But I guess it's in the end, it still needs to be the decision of the operator if this is
Yes,
free
yeah.
or fine.
This is very, very important. I mean, when we started developing the software, but many players that are providing traffic management based on video analytics, the main topic is to support the traffic operators in taking decisions, because in many cases they have to take care about hundreds or thousands of cameras, and they cannot understand what is happening in each specific camera. But more
Yeah,
and more video analytics are used to automate the some decision or to trigger automatic actions. But in general, especially for the traffic industry, um, the video analytics solution were not designed for this, just
yeah,
to support operators.
okay. And maybe one final thing about accuracy. I guess environmental conditions play a big role. So how does it work if it suddenly starts snowing or raining? Is that something where you need to detect this and switch it off, or will you get lots of false alarms? How does it work?
No, well, this is a good question. I mean, we need to differentiate the tunnel application to the open air. The tunnel installation is quite standard. I mean, the lighting is quite the same in the whole tunnel, and so we don't have any issue with the weather condition outside, except the reflection on the surface of the road, which could be an issue, but it depends on the technology that
Hmm.
is used. Outdoor, you are right. You have snow, rain, reflection, shadows, and so on. I would say that when we started deploying our solution based on AI, uh, the main benefit was the dramatic reduction of false alarms caused by environment conditions.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I, I would say that now in open air application, the main problem is fog. So if you have fog, so if we cannot see with our eyes, neither the camera can see what is happening.
Yeah.
So
So likely the camera also wouldn't trigger any false alarms because there's nothing to trigger.
uh, with AI, it happens that the camera does not trigger any alarm,
Yeah.
because the camera is not recognizing anything in the camera field of view.
Okay.
If we move back to the standard computer vision algorithms, in that case with the change detector and so on, it could happen that a small change in few pixel in the picture could trigger false alarms.
Yeah. Okay. How do you deal with events that happen over a longer period of time or also a longer distance? So you might have, I don't know, a traffic jam that covers 10 or 20 different cameras. How do you avoid that you trigger 20 different events?
Yeah. We develop a specific event rule engine. Okay, that could
Mhm.
be mounted directly on the analyzer, or in big installation we can provide a middleware that is able to aggregate and correlate alarms coming from different cameras. So in that case, if you have, for example, a traffic jam, we can trigger only one alarm on the first camera and filter all the alarms that are rising from the previous ones. And
Okay, so
it's something that is very useful, sorry, for the traffic operators. Also, when you have queue, you could have pedestrians that are moving, stop vehicle. And again, the main purpose of AID software is to provide tools to traffic operators in taking decision. So once the system triggers an alarm for queue, the operator is already alerted. So they don't need to take care about additional alarms related to the same event.
yeah. So essentially, the event from a single camera is not passed on right away, but you have a middleware that filters and adds more logic to it. So you only
Exactly.
trigger once for one event.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay,
Yes,
that makes a
correct.
lot of sense. And So to summarize about statistics, in the beginning, you mentioned that sometimes you're struggling with camera positions that are meant for a different purpose, and then you want to add something else. How does it work with statistical information? Like if you have a camera to detect a certain incidents or traffic jams, for example, can you use the camera also for vehicle counting, for example, or do you need a separate camera for this?
No, we can use the same camera. In this case, in this specific case, we design our software in order to provide with the same camera alarms and statistical data.
Okay.
And it
And
works.
how is this statistical data usually used? What are end users want to do with it?
Yeah, the main request is vehicle counting and classification on, for example, on the main roads or on the main tunnels in a highway. They use to record big data and use those for predictions, for example. So they can use in the future and for in order to
Okay.
understand if the traffic flow is moving to a queue um, or congested traffic and so on.
So I
Uh,
guess you can also use it for like
yes, for
infrastructure planning in the future.
infrastructure planning in highways, it's commonly used to in order to schedule the maintenance on the surface. Okay,
Ah.
so
Mm-hmm.
according to the number of vehicles that are moving on the surface, they can understand how and when they need to schedule the, in this case, traffic companies, okay, or road authorities. So if in that
That makes
specific
a lot of sense.
period, yeah, this is another case. In city surveillance application is used to count vehicles, but also not only counting like a pure counting, but also in order to understand how the traffic flow is moving. I do mean, for example, at intersections or a roundabout, to understand how many vehicles coming from a leg of an intersection are turning left or right or going straight. And
Mm-hmm.
again, this is a useful information for mobility planners, but also in many cases we integrated our solution with the traffic light management system. So dynamically, the traffic light timing can be adjusted accordingly. So according to
Okay.
the traffic.
That makes sense. I really like also the example of maintenance because I see that in other areas as well where they're using, for example, people counting to know when you should clean bathrooms or other
Yeah,
like sanitary areas because you can really optimize cost there and improve quality at the same time. Makes a lot of
yeah.
sense. And then add predictive maintenance on
Yeah,
top.
another useful application that we are approaching more and more is to count vehicles in order to save energy, for example, in a tunnel. I mean, when nobody's using the tunnel, the lights inside the tunnel are lower than with the standard traffic flow, so they
Mm-hmm.
can dimmer the traffic, the lighting, sorry, according to the traffic that they have inside the tunnel.
Wow. Wow, that's really interesting.
Yes.
Cool. Maybe to finish off, can you give us an idea where this whole industry is going, where video analytics and traffic management is going? Do you see any particular innovation in a specific area, or do you think it's rather be the same and improve in accuracy? So what will the future bring?
Well, accuracy is one of the main topic for sure. At the other side, the main topic we are also working on is the interaction with vehicles. So we are speaking a lot about V2X, so
Hmm.
communication with vehicles and not only vehicles. And we 2 weeks ago we attended a very important congress in in North America, and in that case, the traffic industry is moving to increase the safety at the intersections. So
Okay.
so the main topic is track vehicles and pedestrian and provide metadata about again vehicles and pedestrian in order to predict possible collisions and communicate alarms using V2X directly to the car. So
Okay,
this
interesting.
is something very futuristic in not only my opinion, because not all the cars will support very soon V2X communication, but it's something that the traffic industry is working on.
Okay, very interesting. So really on the analytics side, improving accuracy, and in the broader side is really V2X, so vehicle to X, like something
Yeah.
communications. Okay, well, really interesting. And the one takeaway from me for the installation itself is that camera placement is very important, and the camera quality is very important for the analytics, right? Because otherwise, there's nothing to work with.
Yes, sure.
Cool. So that's it. We're already in the end. Renato, thank you for coming. This was super interesting.
Thank you, Florian.
Yeah, it was super interesting. It's an insight in an area where I usually am not so concerned with, but there's lots to do with video analytics there, and there are great solutions there. So thank you, Renato from Sprinx, for coming. For everybody else, thank you for watching. Stick around for next time. We'll have next month also a very interesting topic lined up. It's also concerning the traffic area. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe the channel so you don't miss it. Thank you and see you next time.
Bye.